This is Ryan Rants. Another gunman. Another child killed. Another one. Another one. And I'm told by my conservative friends, that's just the price you have to pay for freedom. That this is the price that we have to pay for freedom. That is the idea that they will tell us over and over and over. That if you want to use Joe the Plumber, if anyone doesn't remember who Joe the Plumber was, he was a guy in 2008, or maybe it was 2012. No, it was 2008. It was during the McCain campaign against Obama. And he said recently that my freedom trumps your dead kids. Used that language. My freedom to buy whatever the fuck gun I want when I want trumps your freedom. I have no idea what the fuck he is talking about. Because the last time I checked, you cannot buy a nuclear weapon in this country. You can't. Please tell me where you go if you have the means and the ability and the land to go and put a nuclear facility on your land and create your own nuke. You can't. You can't do it. It's illegal. But that's the Second Amendment. I should be able to take whatever weapon I want because maybe I want to defend myself against North Korea. Maybe I want to have a deterrent so that if I have a fucking gun on my property, I can aim it towards North Korea and say, you fuck with us, I'm going to fuck with you. I'm going to take things in my own hands. That's because you need discipline in society, and there has to be a government that actually steps in and says, look, personal freedom is great, but sometimes, because one person can fuck up a lot of things for the rest of us, that particular individual does not have the ability to get that type of weapon. Let's scale down. Let's go to rocket launcher. Why can't I buy a rocket launcher? I live on the 19th floor of a high-rise here in Nashville, Tennessee. Why can't I have a rocket launcher if I want one? What if there's a fucking tank? What if the commies invade and there's a tank rolling the street and I want to fucking do some Red Dawn type shit and blow the fucking tank up? I should have that ability. What if I'm facing that threat? What if I am? My personal freedom is at stake here, and you, the government, are telling me that I cannot have a rocket launcher. You already know why I can't have one. Because what if I lose my mind one day? People go crazy all the time. What if there's lead in the water and I just lose my mind? I start fucking mowing people down. The risk of what I might do with that weapon exceeds my freedom in that case. Why can't I have an AK-47? In the United States, for how much we talk about guns, you cannot legally own a machine gun. You can't own an automatic weapon. Why not? Where in the living fuck does it say you can have an AK-47 in the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution? When the Second Amendment was created, we were using musket rifles. You had to take this barrel, and you had to put this gunpowder down in there and put the musket ball in there and fire, and then sometimes it wouldn't even fire. That's when we had the Second Amendment. Now we have weapons that can kill a lot of people really quick in a very short amount of time. You're infringing on my Second Amendment rights. No, we're not. We are asking for a rational society. That is what we're asking for. We want to live in a rational world. That's where we want to live. And when you look at reality, and you can see that one fucking psychopath can change reality for a lot of other people really quick, then we have to deal with the NRA coming in and saying you can't do anything about AR-15s because of the Second Amendment. Why isn't the NRA out marching in the streets and calling out holy hell because of AK-47s? You want to know why? Because they know where the limit is in this society, and they will always constantly try and push that limit. Bump stocks, AR-15s, even I, believe it or not, am okay with you owning an AR-15. That is totally fine. You, however, need to join a well-regulated militia. You need to join this country. You need to realize that we are one people and that we all live on the same planet and that all of us have to subject ourselves to laws that sometimes we don't like because the danger of you losing your mind one day and going and killing a bunch of people is too great. Well, how am I going to protect myself against the government when they run up? How are you going to What are you going to do with an AR-15 against, I don't know, the fucking laser beams that the government has right now? If that ever happens, if there is a rogue state that takes over the United States government, they start you are going to have to draw a moral line to decide what side you're on. And the people who are part of the government, you are essentially making the argument that the people who are in the government will also just turn evil all of a sudden. I guess they could, but guess what happens? Some people in that society would switch sides. People are you have to put your faith in. I'm sorry, I know it sucks because people piss me off too, and they fail us all the time. But they're all we've got. We are all we've got for how fucked up we are, for how many mistakes we make. All of that, we are still all we've got. So you will have to trust, yes, that people in that government will do the right thing and try and kill that evil regime from the inside and perhaps join you and maybe give you some of their weaponry. Morality is what you need to put your faith in, and that people will eventually do the right thing. I want my gun. Great. But you need to explain to me how we solve the problem of that motherfucker in California getting his hand on a weapon that mowed down children, and you have no answer for it. The government, that's what you say all the time. That's the price we have to pay. It's not the price we have to pay, because you've drawn the line at machine guns. We want to draw the line at AR-15. Why is that where you're arbitrarily drawing the line? Why can't I have a fucking rocket launcher? Good, that don't make no sense. You're right. Having the AR-15 doesn't make a lot of sense either. Do you need that to hunt? Do you need that to protect your family? If you made the argument that I want a handgun in my home, that would make a lot of sense. Those are the type of threats that you could face from time to time. You want a concealed carry permit? Okay. You go through a training process? Okay. You go to your local police and say, hey, I want to go through the same training process that you have, and I will sign a liability waiver that if I ever kill somebody and it is my fault, I will voluntarily subject myself to 40 years in prison with no possibility for a trial. You want to put your ass on the line there? Are you that convinced that you can do that? And then we can have stricter penalties for people who actually sell guns to criminals who go out and murder people. If you sell a gun to somebody and they go out and murder somebody with it because you wouldn't subject yourselves to the right regulations so that didn't happen, so that people's families weren't killed in the middle of the fucking street like what happened in California today, great. Put your ass on the line and join the United States of America, because we are one people. And yeah, it is the government. The government is us. We are the government. My brother who's in the military is part of the government. When you say shit like, I'm worried about the government, you're talking about my brother. And it makes no sense to me, you folks who actually say, I need AR-15 to protect myself against the government. Go U.S. military. Do you even see the contradiction there? The people that you're talking about, that you think would go and come and try and take your guns, are law enforcement. Blue lives matter are the military. Protect the troops. You don't even see the contradiction there, do you? The government is them. The people that have the guns would be them. And those are the people that you say you support. So how do you explain that contradiction? You can't. You need to decide if you're American or not. And if we're all Americans and we all vote in a democratic manner, that it is time to keep guns out of the hands of psychopaths, something that should not be very controversial, except for one entity, and the letters that describe them are NR and A. You need to decide what side you're on. Because the NRA is only concerned about one thing: selling as many guns as possible to as many people as possible. Damn the consequences. The NRA is totally fine with gangbangers getting their hands on guns and murdering people in the street. They're totally fine with that. You want to know why? Because money was exchanged for a gun. And that money went to them because they're a lobbying organization. Way back in the day, sure, the NRA was a gun safety, gun usage organization. Now they're a lobbying organization for gun manufacturers. They don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about me. They give a shit about the money. That is all they give a shit about. And you need to start waking up and explain to me how it is a liberal idea that we want a healthy society where the rule of law is respected and that a psycho or a criminal cannot get their hands on a gun. When I was growing up in Brentwood, Tennessee, that was a conservative position, that we did not want to allow people that had ill intent to get their hands on guns. Now it's, according to the NRA, who's brainwashed you guys, that's conservative. Guns for everybody. Fucking sell as many guns as possible. Give them to teachers. Give them to kids. Give them to your fucking babies. Wake up and live in a rational society. It is not an insane idea. It's the most sane of ideas to say, maybe crazy people, maybe we should make it really, really, really hard for bad people not to get their hands on a gun. The NRA lets us say the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Great. Why did you make it so easy for a bad guy to get his hand on a gun? Why don't you make it easier for the good people to get their hands on guns? That's called regulation. That's called you have to take a test. That's called you have to at least go through the same process that you have to do to get a fucking driver's license where you can drive out and go mow down people if you feel like it. Do we give crazy? We have a test at the DMV, and if they determine that you're mentally ill and shouldn't be on the road, they don't give you a goddamn license. But somehow that doesn't apply to a goddamn gun where I can go out tomorrow and kill 20 people if I feel like it? You explain to me how that works. And the next time somebody says that dead kid in California is the price we have to pay for freedom, send him his goddamn picture. Not the picture of him smiling in the 3rd grade after he just took his school picture. Send him the picture of his body riddled with bullets, and you explain to me how that is somehow the price of your freedom.